Hi, this is Mark from Ryan Park Gallery, continuing our interview with Dana Depew, and he's demonstrating a little bit explaining a little bit about how he works on the pieces that he does. You've heard a little bit about it on the live interview with Julie, and we're going to ask him a few more questions about his process. Dana, so you're working on the chenille fabric. Was there a pivotal piece or a moment in time when you made that transfer from working on traditional surfaces like canvas to chenille?
Early on I was doing works like that. So in my early formative painting years, more kind of Picasso type related. I didn't really have my own style that I was really grooming. So I was using a lot of found objects. Obviously that's a single bed frame, and I was using linens and curtains and things that I could acquire because I couldn't afford canvas. So I used a couple of these chenille fabrics as a painting for these more, figurative works, and I kind of thought that, these are really beautiful monotone fabrics that didn't really have any color relationships to them, so I thought that I could just kind of use the existing structure to kind of dictate as to how the painting would evolve. So, for example, if these are gessoed, and I just utilize whatever paints I have, like old latex house paints or paints that people give me, pour it on the fabric and allow it to dry. These I did a couple days ago, so there are some areas that are still a little wet. But as it dries, then I would just continue to build up different structures, and I would kind of utilize these as part of the garland and the floral motifs. And then, for example, this is a similar fabric, and these are more finished, where I would go in and kind of utilize some of the negative spaces as some more horizontal lines, and you kind of just aesthetically create something that is pretty well balanced, and the colors are able to fluctuate but live harmoniously together. So there is kind of a format as to really being able to know as to when they're finished, or if they really ever are finished. That there's a point to where I think that I'm comfortable with stopping.
Yeah, your work has always bridged that between a professionally trained artist and an outsider artist for me. I think, the depth of this piece, there's a composition under your painting that you're working with from, you're an archaeological dig, but instead of just digging those pieces up, you're using them
well, it's almost the same format, but it's doing it almost in reverse, where you have something of value and you're adding, throwing more and more dirt on it to try to hide it, but you're still trying to utilize what was already there as kind of a pathway to maneuver forward. And that's kind of the struggle with painting. You don't really know what you're looking for. You just have to continue through trial and error until it's right. And kind of how I base as it being right is aesthetically. And I think, how you're seeing, I've really only had a few actual formal painting classes, so a lot of what I'm learning is through my own mechanism of trial and error, allowing the fabrics themselves to really, drive the vehicle. And I'm just more or less the host to that, and just applying the paint in a format where it somewhat, to me, feels balanced.